Northern Outdoors.
Alright guys, back here on Northern Outdoors, working on the ATV for ice fishing. One thing you guys might have issues with, the headlights, having the lighting. As you can tell, they're not very bright. They're pretty old. I'm pretty sure they use those old incandescent bulbs. So we're going to show you how you can trade in these old yellow lights for some new bright LEDs on the cheap. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so the first thing you're going to want to do when figuring out what LED light bars to buy, you need to measure the housing or the outer edge of where your lights are going to go. We measured these at 4x6, and when we went and looked at buying LED lights, we actually came to the conclusion of getting a 7-inch light bar that's 7 inches outside to outside of the housing. So the inside clear part that you're actually going to have light coming out of is going to fit perfectly inside our housing here. So when you order them, we just ordered any cheap one we could find off eBay. They're going to come in a package like this. They're going to come with the install, mounting tabs and whatnot. This is going to be the nuts and bolts for getting these suckers onto something on your four-wheeler. You can see you got your standard bolts, nuts, washers, and then your adjustable sliding bar for each light. And your lights, depending on the size that you order, are going to look something like this. So this, like I said before, is 7 inches from the outside of the housing to the other outside of the housing, and this has 2 rows. I think these are 18,000 lumens, so there you go. Probably going to cut it before that, but alright guys, next thing you're going to want to do is you want to remove your old lights. Next thing you want to do, remove your old lights. Alright guys, so after you've taken the headlight out from the mount and you go to look at the back of the headlight, you're going to notice that if it has a high-low beam feature, it's going to have 3 wires. One's your ground, one's your high, one's your low. My four-wheeler fortunately has a plug that I can take it out from, so it's a little bit easier to work on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually plug this back in, and I'm going to figure out which one is the low, which one is the high, and so I can do the same thing on the other side, and I know which wires to hook my light up to. You can pick either one. I'm probably going to have mine run on low, that way I don't have to switch my high beams or the high switch on when I want to have my lights on. That might be a feature that you want to add, so that's what you got to do there. Alright guys, so once you got your lights and you got your wires here opened and stripped of their outer shielding, you can figure out how you're going to put them together. We're going to use these waterproof butt splices. So they, once you heat them up, glue seals them in so they're watertight. One thing I forgot to mention, if your four-wheeler does have 3 wires coming into each light, like mine did here for a high-low beam, you're going to want to get a ohmmeter or a voltmeter, and probably a voltmeter, and figure out which one of these has 12 volts going to it on the low beam. That's what I did. And in this case, this is the black, which is the ground, and the white, which is our low beam. So that's what we're going to be attaching the black on our LED lights and our red to the white on our OEM plug for the light here. Cash mouse, how about cash mouse, how about and there you have it. Alright guys, ran into an issue here trying to figure out how we're gonna mount these lights. So let me show you the issue that we're having. basically what's going on is these tabs are at too much of an angle downward to properly be able to align our lights. So what we're going to do here is Brandon's got the grinder out, and we're going to cut these tabs off, and we're just going to re-weld some new ones on. So, like I said before, we had a little issue with where we're going to mount the lights and tabs. The existing tabs didn't really fit the tabs that came with the lights. So, what we decided to do was cut those old ones off and weld new ones on. We ground some of the paint down, and now we've got the tabs made. I'm going to finish welding those on, then we're going to let them cool for a little bit, and let's see what's next. We've got the tabs welded in, the welds have cooled. Now what we're doing is we're test fitting where the lights are going to be before we get everything painted and whatnot. We had to do a little bit of bending, tweaking with the brackets just to make everything line up, but we think we've got the lights where we want them, and we're pretty happy with how they are. You can see our plugs are on, so all we got to do right now is paint those tabs and then do the install. We're basically in the process of reassembly and putting our big lights back on the front because we've got it all painted and it's drying. So, looking pretty good so far. Alright guys, so we got our front headlights mounted, and while we're at it, we were thinking, hey, you're back here at night trying to hook up your portable, you know, back to the hitch on your four-wheeler, and you're trying to mess around and put your cover on, get your stuff in your sled. It would be really nice to have a light on the back of the four-wheeler so you didn't have to turn the four-wheeler around to see and whatnot. You don't have to deal with headlamps, whatever. So we got this 6-inch little LED light bar here. I think it was like $10 on eBay. We're going to mount it to the rear of the four-wheeler, and we're going to install a switch up front so you can turn it on and off whenever you want. We're thinking right between the tail light and the rear bumper here, or rack. So stay tuned to see exactly how we go about doing that. Alright, so in order to figure out where we're going to drill a hole to mount our light here, we're going to mount it from underneath, so we're going to have a bolt coming out the top and a nut's going to go on that bolt. See that bad boy right there? So we mounted the light, and then after that we needed to run the wires. So we came through, ran the wires into the battery tray. We got our negative here going to a ground on the frame. Maybe not the best way to do it, but that's the way we're going to do it. And then we've got our power cable running up here along the frame, and then bring you over here to where Brandon is. And now Brandon's just cleaning it up, zip tying all the wires. That's ran up around here, around the gas tank, and out here. We drilled a hole up here on the gear indicator, and you got a couple warning lights. We're going to have the switch right there. And then we're going to run the other positive wire all the way back to the positive on the battery. Normally what you'd want to do is you'd want to have a fuse block and a relay switch, but this is only one light on one LED, so we figured we'd run it right off the battery. It might not fit your situation, but it fits ours just fine. So that's where we're at right now. We've got our switch installed. Nice, huh? On, off. We've got our wires ran. For those of you on the cautious side, it would probably be a good idea to put an inline fuse somewhere in there, just to prevent any possible electrical fires. Brandon's getting the side plate back on. Alright guys, so here we are. We got the wheeler back together. We got our front lights installed, we got our rear light installed, switches ran, wires run. So that's what they look like in the day. Obviously it's not a very good representation of what they are at night, but I'm sure you can tell from previous in the video that they're quite a bit brighter. So I'd say overall, for the $30 we've invested in the lights and wire and connectors and whatnot, and the, I'd say 6 hours man time, it was a pretty good investment. It's going to make driving on the ice a lot safer, and it's definitely going to make finding our spots easier. Check out our rear light. Pretty slick. So, if you're looking to make another addition to your 4-wheeler, 3-wheeler snowmobile, as far as making getting on and off the ice easier, quicker, making it a little just more efficient to get on and off the ice, I'd say lights are definitely an upgrade that you're going to want to think about. So remember to like, subscribe, and tight lines, guys.